Hello guys, and welcome to this tutorial from Xenotrust. So basically we're going to learn how to create this card, okay? And basically when you hover on the card, you see that it has some kind of hover animation, and it displays the name, the title, and this social icon here. So let's see what happens when I hover on the social icon. So as I hover on it, the background color changes and it moves up a little. When I hover on the icon itself, the size of the icon increases, and this effect is same for all of the icons. Okay, so we're going to learn how to create that in this tutorial. All right, let's get into it. So what we have here is we have this basically we have this folder open, okay, and within the folder, the folder is named card, and within the folder we have index.html and styles.css, and we have an image folder where we have the image we're going to be using. Okay, and so let's see what we have on our index.html. Basically we have a basic HTML skeleton where we have our font awesome link. Okay, so this is our font awesome link here, and we have our style sheet connected. Okay, so basically let's start writing our markup for this effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'll open this in a new tab with live server, so that whatever I do will be displayed here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write the markup, and basically let's just create a section with a class of card, and within that section I'm going to create a div with a class of container. Okay, and then within that div with the class of container, let's just add an image, and basically we are going to target our images folder, and the only image we have there. Okay, so for the alt text you can just put anything you like, so I'll just say photo, and then I'm going to create a div with a class of text, so I'll say dot text, and I'll hit enter, and just add a h2 tag, and I'm just going to type in the name of the Aquariver, and okay, and then I'm going to create a paragraph tag, and I'm just going to say web developer. Okay, and then I will save. Okay, so now within this text tag I'm going to create another div, so I would say dot, and I'm going to give it a class of icon box, so icon hyphen box, and then within this div is where I'm going to create my links and my icon. Okay, so I'll create an a tag with a class of sm, which stands for social media. Okay, so it's just something I came up with anyway, and then my link is going nowhere, so I'm just going to put a hash. Okay, so within the link is where I will then create my icon. So basically it's font awesome we're using, so I'll just say i.fab, which means I'm creating an I tag with the class of fab, and the first icon is actually the Facebook icon. Okay, so let me just confirm. All right, so the first one is Facebook and Twitter, Google, and Instagram. Okay, so I'll just add dot fa/Facebook, and I think there's a -f. Okay, and then I'll hit tab. Okay, so basically let me save and see what we have. Okay, so we have web developer, we have our name, and then we have this Facebook icon at the bottom here. So basically what I'll do is I'll just copy this, and I'll just duplicate it 3 times. Okay, I'll save, and of course we have 4 Facebook icon, which is definitely not what we want, so we are gonna have to just change some of these. So I'll just change this to Twitter. By the way, if you don't know how to use Font Awesome, I'll leave a link in the description that shows you how you can use Font Awesome on your web page. Okay, so the next one is Google, so I think it's just Google, and the last one is Instagram. So let's see. So I'm just going to save, and okay, so we have it here. So Facebook, Twitter, Google, Instagram. So we're done with our markup. Basically what we need to do next is to style our this page here. So I'll just go to my styles.css and let's begin to add our styles. So the first thing I'll do is I'll just add a universal class and say I want a padding of 0. So this is like a reset, and I want a margin of 0, and I want the box sizing to be border box, and I'll save. So basically to just remove the padding and the margin from the elements on the page. Okay, so next I'm just going to target my body, and I'm not going to bother to give it a font family and all of that. I'll just give it a background color. Okay, and I'll just say something like a gray color or something like that, so that EEE. Okay, so basically that's all I would do for the body. So it's not a typical project where I would, write so much styles. Okay, so then I'll just go right ahead and target my card section. Okay, so this section with a class of card is what I'm targeting. Okay, so basically I'm just going to add the flex display. So but first I'll give it a height of, okay, maybe I should just start with the display. So I would say display, and I'll set it to flex. Okay, and then I'll save. Well, we are not seeing anything here because this image is so large, but don't worry. I would then set my justify content because I want everything to be centered in the middle. So I would set it to center, and I would also say align items to center, and I'll save. So basically I'll leave a link in the description where I cover Flexbox in 30 minutes, okay, in less than 30 minutes, I think, or just 30 minutes. I cover Flexbox. So if you are not very proficient with Flexbox, I suggest you look in the description and see that tutorial where I show you about Flexbox. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and target the class of container, and I would say that I want it to have a width of, let's just say 350 pixels, so 350 px, and I want the same for the height. So I'm just going to duplicate that and set the height, and I'll save. Okay, and basically so this is not looking nice, but don't worry, we're going to add some more styles. So to make it look nice from start, maybe I'll just target the image class. So I'll say img, and I'll just give it a width of 100%. So essentially what this means is that I'm saying that I want this image to be 100% of its container, okay, which is 350 pixels. If I save, you'll see that it displays better now. Okay, so what we're going to do is I want this to be in the center, right? So I'm going to come to the card, and I would give the card a height of 100% of the viewport height, so that's 100 VH, and I'll save. So we have this guy centered nicely. Okay, so let's come to our container and add some more properties. So first off, I'm going to add a border, and I'll say I want it to be 1px, and I want it to be solid, and basically I just want a transparent border, so it's not like I want a color, so just a transparent border. Okay, and I want a border radius basically, so I'll say border hyphen radius, and I'll just set it to 5 pixels, so 5px, and I want, well, I'm going to use positioning for the text class. So basically what I'll do is I'll just set this position here to relative, because I want the text, where's the text? Okay, so this div with a class of text, I want to position it absolute. Okay, so that's why I'm setting this container class to position relative basically. So I'm going to say I want every possible overflow to be hidden. So let me just do that here already. So by doing this, we've hidden the what's it called, maybe I should just comment this and save. Okay, so let's begin to style this text here. So I gave my image a width of 100%. Maybe I'm also going to give it a height, so I'll just duplicate this and say I want, what am I doing, and I'll change the height, so height, and I'll also make that 100%. Okay, so I'm going to save, All right, so what I'll do now is I'm going to look for the text class. So I'll say dot text, and I'll give it some class. So the first thing I'll do is I'll give it a width of 100%. So I'll say width 100%, and I'll give it a position of absolute. Okay, well, it doesn't change anything, but we can then get to add some other properties. So I would say I want from the bottom, I want it to be 0, and from the left I also want it to be 0, and then I'll save. So you see that the text is now displayed on the image. Okay, so what I'll do now is I would set the background color to, well, maybe I should start with the height. So I would say, instead of I've set the width to 100%, I'll say I want the height to be 35%. So, and I'll save. Okay, so let's add some properties here. So basically what I want is, first off, I'm going to give it a background color so we can see like what we're doing. So I'll say background color, and I'll set it to like a dark gray color, so hash, and I think 333, and then I'll save. So we have this dark color here. What I'll do next is I'm going to set the color of the items, like the text now within this guy here. I'll set the color to white, so I'll just say hash FFF, and I'll save. Okay, so we have this color here, white. All right, so let's continue. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the flex. So I'll say flex, and so that should be display rather. So I'll say display, and I'll set it to flex, and let's save. Okay, so this doesn't look very good, but basically we can then say we want our flex direction so to be column, and let's save that and see. Okay, so we have this guy here displaying just below the other. So what I'll do next is I'll just say I want this text to be centered. So basically I can center everything with just text align, because basically h2 and even the a tag can be centered with text align. So I'll say end center, and I'll save. So everything is nicely centered here. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add some padding. So I'll say padding. Basically I'll just do on the top and bottom, so 10 px and 0 on the left and right. Okay, so we have some space up top and at the bottom here. So I think that's all for the styling of the text. Of course there are some things we're going to do, but for now we are fine with this. Okay, so what I'll do next is I'm going to target the h2 and the paragraph within the text class. So let me just go and say dot text, and I'll say h2, and basically I just want the font size to be, let's just do 18 pixels, so 18 px, and I'll just do the text transform to, oh, that's text transform, so text transform, and I'll say to uppercase. Let's save that. So you see that the name here is in uppercase, and I'll just give it a color of orange. And I'll save. Okay, so it's looking very similar to what we have here. We've not added any animation yet, but it looks quite similar. Okay, but also I think we need to add a border here for this text class. Okay, so basically I would come here and say border, and I'll just say I want 1 pixel, and I want it to be solid, and then I want it to be hash. I think I used EEE, like some kind of light gray. Okay, I need to close this guy here, so I'll save. So we have the border, but I don't know if you're noticing, but this border is kind of going around. So but what I want is just a border on top. So I would say that I want the border width to be So it's going to take 4 values: top, right, bottom, and left. So top, right, bottom, and left. So for the top, I'll just say I want 1px and 0, 0, 0. So that's fine. I'll save. Now you may not notice the border going around previously because the color of the background is also EEE, so it just blends into the background. But what we actually want is to have just a border on top. Okay, so let's come down and target our paragraph. So I'll say the text and I'll say P, and basically what am I doing? And basically for the paragraph, I'm just going to set a font size to 16 pixels, so 16px, and I'm going to set text transform to capitalize, and I'll save. So you see that the W and the D are capitalized. All right, so let's go ahead and add some styles for our icons here. So basically what I'm going to do is, let me just add a comment here and say social icons. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to target the icon box. Okay, so let me show you what I'm targeting. So this icon box class, I'll target it. So I would say dot icon box, and basically I want some space between the text here and the icon. So I'll just say I'll just add a margin, but just on the top I'll say I want 10 pixels. 10 pixels seems fine. So you see that there's some space here, although the color is blue, so it's not really showing, but don't worry, we're going to change the color. Let's say we want the color of everything here to be hash FFF. Okay, all right, so now let's target the SM class. So I'll say dot SM, and basically I'm going to set the display to inline block. So I'll just say display, so inline hyphen block, and I'm going to set the width to 60px, and I'm going to add a margin. So I just want to add some space between these guys here, so I'll say margin, and on the left, top and bottom, I don't want any margin, but on the left and right I want 5 pixels, so 5px, and I'll save. Okay, so we have like a margin here, so we've spaced them out. Okay, all right, I'm going to give it a background color, so color, and basically it's just going to be like a white color or something like that. So FFF and save. So we have this background color. It's not looking nice, okay, but we're going to fix that. So also I'm going to give it a color of hash EEE, so like a light gray, and I'll save. Maybe I should undo this color first so we can see our icons inside. I'm going to give it a border, so I'll just say 1px and solid. Of course the border is going to be transparent, and I'm gonna need a border radius, so border hyphen radius of 10 pixels. Let's add some padding around it, so I'll just add a padding of 15px, and let's save and see. So basically we have something similar to what we have here, okay, but of course we've not added a whole lot, so from the animation to the colors and stuff like that. So but we're getting close. Okay, so let's continue adding some styles. So I'm going to just make, say, text align, or maybe I don't actually need that. So I'm going to say, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to target the let's see, the icons. So I'll say dot sm and icons, so that's I, and basically I'll just give it a font size, so font size of 20 pixels, and I'll save. So we have a much bigger icon here, and I'll give it a color. of orange. By the way, you can actually use any color you want. Okay, so these are just colors that I just used off the top of my head. And I think basically this is it. So what we want to do now is we want to add the animations, okay, for this box we have here, the hover animations. So maybe the first thing we should do is we should start from the container up top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to so let's just scroll up to the image area. So we're going to start from here, okay? So let's target the container and the image. So I would say dot container, and I'll say when you hover on the container and image. So in other words, I'm saying that when you hover on the container div, I want these styles to be applied to the image, right? Okay, but before you do that, you need to add the initial style to this container class. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to set a transform here, and basically I want to translate in the y-axis, and I'm going to set it to, this should actually be in the image class, not in the container class. So I'll bring it to the image class here, and I'm going to set the initial property to 0, okay, because initially I want it to, just display like this. Okay, so I'll set the transform y to 0. Now I'll then say that when you hover on this guy here, so let me just get this. So I think I missed a semicolon here. So let me grab this, Control C, and I'll just paste it in here. And this time I would say that I want it to move upwards, okay? And if you're moving upwards using translate y, it's going to be negative. It's going to be a negative value. So I would say minus 35%. So essentially it's going to move up 35% of the overall height of the image, yeah? And I'm going to save, okay? So as you can see, it's moving out of the container. So this is where the overflow hidden comes in. So I'll come here and I would uncomment out the overflow for the container and save. And when I hover on it, you see that it doesn't show outside the container. Okay, all right. So let's add some transition, okay, so that it moves smoothly. So I would come to the image itself and I'll just say transition, and basically I'll just say all. Okay, I could as well say transform, but let me just say all, and I'll say I want it to move smoothly over 0.3 seconds, and I'll save. Now if I come, you see that the transition is smooth. Okay, the animation is smooth. All right, so we are done with the first animation. Let's come and add an animation for this text div here. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the text area here, and basically what I want to do is I'll first add a transform, and of course since it's in the y-axis or in the vertical axis, we're going to say translate and y. Now what do we want to achieve? We want it such that in the initial state this text div is not displayed. Okay, so we're going to translate it downwards. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say translate, and I'll say 100%, and then I'll save. Okay, so basically what happens here is that it pushes the text div 100% of the height of the text div downwards, so the text div actually disappears out of the flow of the page. Now we're going to add a class here. So basically what I'll just say is I'll first target the container, so dot container, and I'll say hover, and then I'll then target the dot text class. So this should be dot text, And basically I'll just get this transform class here. So Control X, oh sorry, Control C, and I'll paste it in here. And you know what I'm going to do here? I'm just going to set it back to the initial state, so that will be 0. So I'll go ahead and save, and let's see what we have. Okay, so but this does not look very nice because the transition for this text div is not smooth. So once again, I'll just come here and copy my transition here. So there's no need of typing it out again. I'll just copy it and I'll paste it here. So transition of 3 seconds, 0.3 seconds. And if I come here, you see that it's smooth. Okay, so now the last thing we need to do is we need to add some styles for the icons here, such that when we hover on the icons, the background will change and the size of the icon itself would increase. So basically, let me show you what we're trying to do. So if I hover on this guy here, you see that the background color changes. There is this white border around, and the icon box moves up just a little bit. Okay, and when we hover on the icon itself, they actually increase in size. Okay, so that's what we're about to achieve. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to target the, so let's just go down. So this is the SM class. Okay, so basically on the SM class, we are going to say that we want first, let's just add a, so let's see. Okay, so first let's add a transform, and let's just do translate y. So initially we want it to be 0, which is the initial position, so that doesn't do anything. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say dot sm and hover. So when you hover on the sm class, I want the okay, I think I should set a background color first because there are a number of features I want to add. So I'm just going to get this, so I'll copy this and I'll paste it here, and I'll say that I want it to go upwards. So remember, if it's going upwards, it's going to have a negative value. If it's going downward, it's going to have a positive value. Okay, so I'll just say minus 5px, and I'll save, and I think it works now. Okay, so it works now. Yeah, okay, so basically what we need to do is we need to set the background color and the border around it. So I'll come here and I would say background color, and basically I think it's white. Okay, so I'll just say hash fff, and I would save. So, and then I'll copy the background color here and I'll place it here, and this time I'm going to change it to 777, so something darker. Okay, so let's see what we have. Okay, so the background color changes here. Now let's add a border around these icons. So basically we're going to come here and we're going to say, instead of having a transparent border, okay, the border is initially transparent, so I'm going to copy this and I'll come here and paste it, and instead of having a transparent border, I would say I want, let's just say hash EEE, and I'll save. So if you come here and you hover on it, you see that the border is now like this whitish color. Okay, this is actually some kind of hash color. Okay, so it's basically it's the same for all of the icons. So but what we need to do is we need to set our transition, because I mean we want the animation to be smooth. So we are going to come to the SM class here, and we're going to say transition and all 0.3 seconds. Okay, so we could have easily copied that. So animation smooth. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is that when we hover on the icon itself, okay, this icon here, we want it to increase in size. Okay, so let me come here and show you what I mean. So you see that it increases in size. Do you see that? Yeah, so we want it to increase in size. So basically we're going to target the this icon class here, and basically it's very straightforward. The first is we're going to give it a transform, and this time we're going to say scale. and initially we want it to be as it is, so we're going to say 1. Okay, and we're then going to add a hover class. So I'm going to say .sm and I, and this time I'll say that when you hover on the I, so hover, I want the transform, so I'll just copy this instead of typing it out, and I'll paste it here, and I'm just going to say 1.3. okay, so I'm just increasing the size of the text just a little bit. So I'll come here and let's just add a transition once and for all, and I'll say all and 0.3 seconds, and I'll save. So let's see what we have here. So we have this, and when you hover on it, you notice the change. Okay, so basically we are done with this card here. As you can see, we used a little bit of Flexbox to achieve some of the things we did here, and for our animation basically we use the transform property. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this lecture. If you don't know so much about Flexbox, I'll leave a link in the description to a 30 minutes crash course I did on Flexbox to help you understand Flexbox properly. Okay, and also I want to tell you about a course I have. Okay, so if you don't know about Git and GitHub, then I want to encourage you to check out my course on Udemy. Okay, so basically it's a comprehensive course I did on Git and GitHub, and I want to encourage you to check it out, okay, on Udemy. Okay, so let me just quickly bring it in. So this is the course I just talked about on complete Git and GitHub. Okay, so if you are like new to web development, and you know kind of want to learn about Git and version control system, then I want to encourage you to take this course on Udemy. I can assure you that you would actually enjoy the course because I cover a lot of stuff on Git and GitHub in this course. All right, so thank you so much for watching this lecture. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I want to encourage you to subscribe, leave a thumbs up, leave a like. See you in another video.